Hello guys, so I've played BattleBit for around 100 hours and I would say 80% of that has been sniping. In this video, I wanted to share with you my best tips and tricks for snipers, which guns to use, what to avoid, and how to snipe at all ranges. If anything from this video helps you, make sure to give it a like and subscribe so I know I've done a good job. And if you think I've missed anything important, then please put your own best tips down in the comments below to help someone else. And with that said, let's get to the basics. In this game, the most important factor of being a sniper is positioning. Putting yourself in a spot where you can see the most enemies, but hopefully they won't see you. Cover, elevation, and concealment. And there are simply some maps in the game that are better than others to help you snipe easier, that provide plenty of height, cover, and long lines of sight. Maps that I would recommend sniping on are Basra, Sandy Sunset, and Wakistan to get you started. Large open maps with lots of verticality and long lines of sight. Then there are maps to avoid sniping on, which are flatter and have short lines of sight. So maps like Isle, District, and Oil Dunes have minimal buildings, less cover, and very little verticality. I would also avoid sniping on night maps, as thermal scopes are hard to use, but you do you. And talking of scopes, my best advice if you want to stay concealed is to use a medium scope as soon as you unlock one. Any scope not in the medium section will have a scope glint, and right now, medium scopes are way easier to use at most ranges. You don't even need to hold breath or steady medium scopes. Now, once you think you found a good spot to snipe from with plenty of cover and elevation, there's still no need to go prone or stand completely static while sniping. I always say this in every sniper guide video. Unless you gain some sort of massive advantage by being completely still, it is always better to be a moving target that is unpredictable than a static one. The prone position should only ever be used to take cover behind an object whilst being shot at or recovering. As you are aiming over an area, always be moving side to side while seeking out the targets. This simple movement is 10 times harder to hit than someone still, and when people miss their shots shooting at you, it also gives away their position as well. The only time you should ever be sitting still is the second before you take a shot. When scanning an area, just unscope occasionally to keep your awareness up. Your scope only focuses on a small area. Unscoping allows you to see things in a wider area and will pay off when enemies are creeping up on you at closer ranges. Once you've found some targets, when aiming at players in this game, luckily hitting headshots is much easier as the head hitbox is absolutely massive. I mean, it's a giant cube, but it's still better to aim for the head only when they are still and aim for anywhere on the body whilst they are moving. When a target is moving, don't track them directly, but instead leave your crosshair where they're likely to run into the shot. And don't hesitate too long between each shot. A missed shot is better than no shot at all before they get into cover. When the target is stationary, try to line up your shot with the center of your screen first. That way, when you scope in, you only need to make minor adjustments once they're already near the center of your scope. It is always a 2-shot kill with any sniper, even if you hit them in the hands and feet, and even if they're using armor. But only the M200 sniper can headshot a support player with a heavy helmet. So when you see a heavily armored player, just focus on 2 body shots. So you've fired a load of shots and you've emptied your magazine. It's now time to reload. Now you will notice that I will fast reload almost every single time when I use a sniper in this game. If you're playing like me, you're almost always in cover, so you can safely fast reload by holding the reload button and picking up the magazine whilst doing the reload animation. I also prone when reloading in the open to find the mag on the floor easier and make myself a smaller target if I need to. Now, when peeking an angle with the sniper, you can keep using that same angle until you are spotted. Once you have been spotted or you hear the audible whiz of a bullet, always change position. At least peek from a different angle of the same cover or building. If you peek the same angle twice once you've been spotted, you're the easiest target in the world, and this game has an extremely fast TTK. In BattleBit, we also have the added benefit of leaning whilst aiming. This makes you a smaller target when peeking from a wall and can make you harder to hit. Whenever you're peeking from a wall, you should almost always be leaning. The animation of leaning also means that you can whip your character back behind cover if it's not safe, faster than you can strafe back behind it. Leaning also puts your character's hitbox in an unusual position, making it harder to line up shots on you, so you can always just throw them in even when you're just taking a normal shot. Just keep in mind that if you are going to take a shot whilst leaning, the bullet still drops straight down from the crosshair, so it can be harder to judge the bullet drop. Still on the topic of positioning, getting height over your enemies gives you a larger area of vision and gives you a smaller hitbox, as enemies can only see a smaller part of you when looking up at you. But I would still avoid the roofs of buildings and the tops of hills with nothing behind you. This is called silhouetting or skylining, as you're easier to spot with the horizon behind you. Try and find spots in the middle of buildings and the middle of hills, which will give you a better chance of not being spotted. And of course, if you are in a building, always leave a trail of mines behind you on stairs and in doorways, as even if they spot the mines, they still have to shoot them, giving you an audible warning before they reach you. Now, talking of close range, this is one of the few games where you are almost completely hopeless once enemies get close as a sniper. The pistol time to kill is incredibly slow, and that's if you're even alive long enough to pull your sidearm out. The weapon switching animation is one of the slowest in any game I've ever played. Your best bet in most scenarios is to just get the hell out of there. Genuinely, if you see enemies getting too close, just get out of the area and move to a position where you have a generous gap between you and them. Even a hit with the sniper at close range won't one-shot, and you'll be dead before you can switch weapons. Focus on escaping, not fighting. The best thing you can do if you have no escape is have your secondary ready to fire and hope and spray when they come around the corner. Now, medium range is still pretty dangerous for snipers, as many weapons, even assault rifles, can still two-shot you. You always want to be sniping from behind cover. If you do find yourself out in the open and being shot at, don't return fire until you're hidden beforehand. Fighting in the open is just instant death. But luckily, there is one more trick in BattleBit that can keep you alive in a tricky situation. We have the fortification mechanic in this game. When you hold down your spotting button, this menu comes up, and if you want cover fast and don't have time to build, this first object builds instantly. But if you are prepared and want the ultimate structure for cover and sniping, this is the cover you want to build. You can peek from 5 angles on this thing. You build it on a flat, elevated area overlooking enemy territory, line yourself up with the middle, and then you can lean peek either side, and you'll be near impossible to spot or hit, as only part of your head is visible. This structure is almost like a cheat code for snipers in this game. And then, last but not least, there is long-range sniping. And luckily, in this game, almost every sniper over 900 meters is a guaranteed one-shot kill thanks to the long-range sweet spot they added. So you don't need to aim for the head over 900 meters. But don't forget that all sniper scopes have an extremely obvious sniper glint that can be seen from almost anywhere on the map. You should still be moving a little bit and avoid proning even when doing long range, as people can easily see you and shoot you across the map. I also don't recommend using anything over the 15x scope, as you don't need anything bigger for the ranges in this game. First, make sure that you've unlocked and equipped the rangefinder. That's what gives you the range at the top right. Once you find a safe position at the back of the map, you can then scan the area for stationary targets. Once you find enemies sitting still in windows or on hills, put your crosshair on the cover next to them. This gives you a clear reading for when you need to zero your scope. Using your left alt and your scroll wheel, change your zeroing to within 50 meters of the range reading you got from the cover. If the reading was higher than your zeroing, then you'll need to aim very slightly above the target. And if your reading was lower than your zeroing, then you'll need to aim slightly below your target. And if they're under 900 meters, you'll still need to hit a headshot. However, if they're over 900 meters away, just shoot any part of the body. Just remember that whilst the M200 is great for anything over 1000 meters, as it's the only sniper that can zero over 1000, you will need to change the attachments to reduce that first shot recoil. Because my god, you can't see where you're shooting with the 15x if you don't turn down the recoil. And on that note, let's talk about which snipers and attachments you should use. Now, the first sniper you unlock is called the SSG, and unfortunately, it is one of the worst snipers in this game. All the guns you unlock after it have significant bonuses over this. As for the semi-auto snipers, I also recommend avoiding these for long range too, as it seems that assault rifles have the same damage model with less recoil and faster ADS. If you have any success with the semi-auto snipers, let me know how. Moving on, bullet velocity is the most important stat in this game, followed by aim down sight speed and fire rate. The faster your bullet, the easier it is to hit enemies moving around, and the less you have to judge the bullet drop. Therefore, every time you unlock a new sniper after the SSG, use that instead, except the REM 700, which is a downgrade from the L96. Eventually, there is 2 sniper rifles that are statistically better than all the others. You use the L96 for more medium range and urban maps, and eventually at level 100, you use the M200 for long range maps. If you really want to get used to just one sniper, focus on the M200. You will be unstoppable at all ranges if you master the bullet drop of this gun. It literally has the highest damage and damage range as well. It's also the only sniper that can one-shot a heavy helmet. Every sniper scope in this game has the extremely visible scope glint, therefore using medium range scopes at any range other than extreme ranges is the way to go. As I said earlier, medium scopes have no glint and can be easily used up to about 500 meters without having to worry too much about bullet drop. My favorite medium scope is the Tri-X4 scope. Try and unlock this on all your snipers, it's extremely easy to use. Also, I've mentioned this before, but go to the character button below your loadout and select the normal vest. This gives you the maximum amount of ammo, way more than the default. As for other attachments, you'll want to use the Ranger barrel on all your snipers as soon as you unlock it. This gives your sniper an additional 100 meters per second velocity and increases the damage the most at longer ranges. As for the underbarrel grips, the URK is the only one that has a noticeable benefit as it increases your reload speed. You shouldn't have to worry about recoil on bolt action snipers, except at long range as I explained earlier. Lastly, ensure that you're using every bolt that you unlock as they unlock. They continually get better and will allow you to cycle the bolt without clicking and also cycle it whilst aiming. Strangely, you can also add a rangefinder to a sniper with no downsides, so just stick that on every sniper when you unlock it. I also take the normal frag grenades as there's almost always an opportunity to get a ton of kills when an opportunity presents itself. And then personally, I like using the pickaxe as you can create some insane sniping angles that is more beneficial to me than climbing buildings. Lastly, I then take mines of some type. I don't often find myself able to use C4 if I'm playing passively, but leaving mines behind on stairs or behind cover always nets a couple of kills and saves me in the round. As for secondaries, unfortunately, as I mentioned earlier, the pistols in this game cannot compete with any other class in the game. The MP443 is the best to start with over the M9. The Desert Eagle and the revolver can one-shot headshot, but if you miss a single shot, you're dead before you can even fire a second. But ultimately, the automatic Glock is the best gun to use once you unlock it. It's the only sidearm that can get 1 to 2 kills before you're instantly shredded at close range. And trust me, it truly is a last resort. And with that, I think I've covered just about everything to do with basic sniping in BattleBit. If anything helped you in this video, please be sure to like and consider subscribing. This helps as many people as possible to see the video, and hopefully it was worth watching. Let me know your own best sniper tips down in the comments below, and of course there will be more BattleBit on this channel in the future. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.